You are at Resilient Strategies from Immigrant Women Entrepreneurs. Thank you for joining us at the 11th Annual Denver Startup Week. Thank you to our title sponsors, Amazon, Capital One Cafe, Dell for Startups, and the Downtown Denver Partnership. This session is part of the Spotlight Track sponsored by Southwest and Chase, one of 8 programming tracks aimed at supporting the entire entrepreneurial team. By attending this session, you are agreeing to follow our code of conduct, as well as to being photographed or recorded on the video. Kindly share your experience of the session at #ThenStartupWeek and #BRLatinasResilience. Our presenting sponsors, title sponsors, and headline sponsors. Without this event would not be possible. Our partner and our member sponsors, welcome. I would like to welcome to the panel, Martha, Doutora Rafaela, Ariane, Ligi, and Fernanda. Here we go. I have too many things to hold. Yes, I will sit there in a minute. According to American Immigration Council, in the United States has 44.5 million immigrants, 53% naturalized citizens, and 3.2 million immigrants in America are entrepreneurs generating $86.3 billion in business income. The main purpose of this session is not to discuss the complexities of the immigration system, its policy, or our personal opinions about immigration laws. Our focus is to positively demonstrate how our journeys as immigrants have been impacting and building the resilience in our personal and professional and entrepreneurial paths, which we hope you can all benefit as well. I am Patricia Guimarães, and I'm very honored to be here today as the moderator for this panel. I've been participating at Denver Startup Week since 2016 as an attendee, a volunteer, a panelist, and this year I have the pleasure to be part of the organizing committee for Denver Startup Week. This community of learning, sharing, and connecting was my lifesaver after my divorce that saved me from a depression with 2 little kids. And Denver Startup Week was my inspiration. Literally, it changed the course of my life. I am from Brazil, like all the other panelists here today that currently live in the US, actually for many years already. We are proud to be here representing the Latino Brazilian community. I am the co-founder and CEO of the startup ProBR Network that provides an online platform for expat Brazilian and eventually all Latinos, professionals to share resources, showcase their services and products, and do business together. I would like to thank all the girls here today. We call ourselves girls, okay? It's gonna be very common. Doutora Rafaela, Marta, Ariane, Fernanda, and Lidiane. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation to be here today. So, thank you. We'll share a mic. So I would like to ask them to introduce themselves, 1-2 minutes. Just tell the audience where you're from in Brazil, where do you live now, why did you come to the United States, and what do you do?
I am originally from Rio de Janeiro. I live in Massachusetts, the greater Boston area. I came to the United States in 2007 because I wanted to pursue a higher degree. And the last question was?
Where do you live now?
Oh, yeah, I live in Massachusetts, the greater Boston. Oh, I am an attorney, thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Marta Spurk. I'm originally from São Paulo, Brazil. born and raised until I was 23, and I moved here to Denver. I've been in Denver collectively for almost 10 years to marry my American husband. So in 2010, I moved up, but I'd been coming to the United States since 2001 for church conferences. My mom is a pastor, so that's how I got involved in coming several times a year at one point. What else? I have degrees in languages, so I started teaching English from a very young age when I was 14. And then in 2016, I had the surprise and blessing of triplets. So I have 6-year-old triplets, and that was the catalyst for me to start my business and starting coaching and encouraging and empowering women entrepreneurs. So super excited to be here.
Hi everyone, my name is Ariane Barbosa. I'm originally from São Paulo, Brazil, and I came here to study. That was my goal. I'm attorney licensed in Brazil, and I came to pursue my career and do my master's degree here. So actually now I lived in Utah. I have been living in Utah for 5 years now. I'm also a mother of 2, and my business now, because all the way that I went through, a lot of people started asking me, how did you do everything to become an international student and to continue your career in the United States? So because of that, I started a business helping, being like a mentor career for international and immigrant students that wants to come here and working and stay in America, basically.
Hi, my name is Fernanda Furman. I'm also known as Felima by my friends. And I'm from Brazil, a small city called Goiânia. It's surrounded by 200 waterfalls, which I love. So the cold water in America in the ocean does not scare me. And I came to America to finish a project. I'm an architect by trade, licensed architect, to finish an architectural project that I started while I was in Brazil when the owner wanted to see and meet me. So I came here and ended up staying. I moved to San Diego about 17 years ago. And what I do today is I help entrepreneurs grow and scale their business with virtual events. And I started that out to support my husband with his business. I fell in love with everything I was doing and decided to change that 2 or 3 years ago.
Hello, I am Lidiane Marco. I was born and raised in the south of Brazil, in a small town called São Francisco do Sul. When I was 16, I moved in with my oldest brother who was going through med school in Florianopolis, which I'm so sorry for him. But I moved to the United States in 2003 with a work visa. I arrived in Austin, then I had a short period in Dallas and landed in Colorado in 2006. Right now, I have my own business, CRM Growth Strategy. I help organizations to implement Salesforce. So, thank you.
Very good. Thank you for being here today. Yeah, you can keep it there. I would also like to acknowledge that today, right, September 19th, each year Americans observe National Hispanic Heritage Month, and from September 15th through October 15th by celebrating the histories, cultures, and contributions of American citizens whose ancestors come from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, Central, and South America. So it's a pleasure to be here representing South America and Brazil, and we are also honored here today. I'm going to stand up. I have to be with the laptop, with the clicker, with the too many things. Do you want to just introduce yourself? Maria is the honorary counsel. Oh, no. We didn't plan this, but she came, so do you want to say hello?
Hi. Very nice and very honored to be here. But I am always coming to Startup Week because in despite of the fact that I am a consul honorary here, I am a venture capital. And I'm always interested in see what is going on or what I can do to invest. And the consulate honorary for Brazil here in Colorado exists maybe 3 years from now. And because of COVID and everything, most of the time I am solicited for, sad things, death, prison, this kind of thing. Another part of it is helping companies that is interested in invest in Brazil or in Brazil and vice versa. And for me, it's a very interesting thing to see women's entrepreneurship in this part. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mari. I'm sorry if I put you on the spot, but I should, right? Yeah. She's here representing Brazil, so that's wonderful. Everyone, this is an interactive session, okay? So we're going to have Q&A at the end. So before we get started with the questions, I would just like to know, to get a few of the audience here, how many of you are immigrants? Most of you. Woohoo! How many of you are entrepreneurs? All of you. You're in the right place. Wonderful. We've prepared for you what we're going to talk today. It's 7 strategies of how to be resilient, which has worked for us in our experience. So feel free if you're interested in downloading a checklist. It will be available tomorrow. We had some things on the website, but the website is strategiesforentrepreneurs.com. Yes, we did create a website just for you. Because that's what we do. Thanks, Fernanda. Fernanda does virtual landing pages. So let's get started here with our questions and with our first strategy, which is mindset and awareness. Super important, right? And for this topic, I would like to invite Lidiane Moko, which is pronounced Moxco, but she uses Moko most. MBA, she's an MBA CRM strategist, 4-time Salesforce certified, board member of the Blind Institute of Technology, and business owner at crmgrowthstrategy.com. Thank you so much, Lidie, for being here today. So what are the similarities of the journey of the immigrant and of an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so I am very passionate about this topic because I like storytelling. And when you have a story, you have that, what they call the arc of the story, right? You have things starting, and then it gets dramatic, and then, things calm down, and there's an outcome. And I think that's true for both of the entrepreneur journey and for the immigrant journey. And the reason we're here together is because all of us are immigrants first, and then entrepreneurs. Like Kevin said in the panel in the beginning here, I don't know if you guys saw him talking, but I was super excited when he referred to it because he talked about resilience. And as immigrants, we want to be here. Some of us don't have a choice to go back necessarily to our homeland, right? I really wanted to be here, so that was my choice. Sometimes I had to ask myself, why did you choose that? So as an entrepreneur, there are times that you feel lonely because you have all those things in your head about your business. As an immigrant, there are times that you feel lonely because you feel like you're the only one going through it. Little things like when I first arrived here as an immigrant, things that you take for granted, like going to the grocery store. And when I shared this topic with them, they were all laughing because they all had the same thing. You go to the grocery store and you look at all the different names of ingredients, and then you realize, oh my God, I thought I knew English. And all those different ingredients, how do I find what I need to cook my cake, to make my cake?
And no food from Brazil, right?
Yes.
Which, by the way, there's Brazilian soda in the back. So if you never tried Brazilian soda, today's the day. It's right there.
Guaraná, yeah.
Guaraná.
Yeah. So yeah, and as a small business owner or as an entrepreneur, at first you don't even know how to get started to begin with, and then you have this idea, you start gathering information, then you have an idea, but you don't have clients. Then you get some clients, and then the business start growing, and then you need to think about your capacity and how to scale. So it's a constant adaptation, and in the immigration journey, it's also a constant adaptation. You think things are going well. I waited for a long time to start my green card process because I really wanted to start it with the right company that I felt safe with. And there was drama. Like in the last 3 months of my green card process, there was drama, and I didn't know if I was going to be able to stay here or not. So nowadays it's easier to look back and make many of those situations, and yeah, that's what I have to share.
And thank you, Liddy. And what is the mindset that both the immigrant and the entrepreneur should cultivate, right, to endure all these challenges?
I am not stealing Kevin's words, but I'm repeating it, which is persistence. It is grit. It is, thinking about your values, having clarity around your values, having clarity around why do you want to stay here, and making decisions based on your values. The other part that is really important is cultivating self-awareness. Self-awareness and also awareness of how you're being perceived by others. Because once you know it, you just keep showing up, Yeah, we show up with an accent and people make judgments. It's normal. It's human behavior. Don't take it personally. Just keep showing up. One time, it's going to sink in. They're going to understand that the meaning behind what you're saying. That's my strategy, Patty.
That's awesome. Well, that's actually a great segue to our next question. And panelists, for today and the topic, we're going to now talk about the next strategy, which is self-awareness, around the topic of identity and personality, which we have here our expert. Marta Spurk is the author. I should put her beautiful photo over there. There we go. Is the author of the Empowered Women book, which is back there. What's the situation with the book? I'm putting everyone on the spot, okay?
I would love to do a giveaway, maybe who participates the most. I don't know, I haven't decided yet. Maybe you could help me. I have 3 copies to give away.
Whoever does the first question of the Q&A gets a book. There we go.
Good
That's
one.
how we started. There we go. Is that good?
Yes, that was perfect.
Deal. Fechado in Portuguese. That's how we do it. She's also the host of the Empowered Woman podcast, which is awesome. So you guys can go on all the podcast hosts platforms. Thank you, and you can download that. It's really entertaining, and you learn a lot. I always listen to Martha because she's a doer like me, and she's gonna talk about what that means in a minute. She's also a TEDx speaker. What's the name of the
Transformational Power of Defeat.
The Transformational Power of Defeat. If you just put on YouTube Marta Spurk, it will come up. And it's a great, it's very heartfelt that she shared. She's also an Enneagram expert and coach. So Martha, share a little bit, how does one's personality, contributes, their strengths and weakness affects the way they show up as an immigrant and as an entrepreneur?
Well, I always like to say you wouldn't want to walk, or I don't recommend you walking on or under a bridge that I built. First and foremost, I would never build a bridge. I would just go on top of it. And the reason that is because I'm not an attention to detail person. I am the stereotypical, I'll build a plane while I'm flying the plane. Hence why I started my business when my triplets were 9 months old. I didn't even wait until they graduated, let alone go to preschool. I needed to do something, and I just started with what I had. But not everyone is like that. And it's taken me a while, dare I say, 30 years, to accept, first to identify this, to become aware of this about myself, and then to come to terms with it, and then celebrate it and embrace it. To realize that that is a strength of mine. Obviously, it comes with its own downfalls, but on the same hand, I need the people that have attention to detail, such as my husband. He's an electrician, so he needs to have attention to detail, right? And so do architects and engineers and people that love spreadsheets and all that stuff that is not my forte. And so in my entrepreneurial journey, I've come to understand and also embrace the fact that our uniqueness is what we have. And this is what we should be leveraging more than anything. And then when you talk about being a woman, when you talk about being an immigrant, my goodness, how unique does that make you? And then starting a business. And it's a constant journey of adaptation. And again, understanding that it's a journey of adaptation, accepting that it's a journey of adaptation, and embracing and celebrating it and being grateful for it. You know, when you think you got it all down, just like what you're saying, somebody comes up and scrambles all the pieces of the puzzle. And you're like, what? I was almost done, right? It's like you're constantly on a paddle board. Has anyone ever done paddle boarding? You don't stop balancing. It's constant, right? And I mean, try doing that in the ocean. I don't know if, because we have lakes down here. Go to the ocean, friend. It's not the same. It's like ab workout, quad workout. It doesn't end. And with my journey as being a mom to triplets, and anyone that goes through parenting, you think you got something down, they grow another year, and it's a different grade, and it's something else. And the same thing goes for entrepreneurship as well. You know, you have an idea, you launch it, don't have clients. And then the clients come, what do I do now? People are paying me, I have responsibilities, right? So it's understanding, I can't say that enough, it's these three things. It's your personality will play a part in everything that you do. So the more you invest your time and your resources to become aware of this, then to accept it, because at first, what happens when you become aware? Oh my gosh, I'm a terrible human being. I wish I could do spreadsheets, right? I wish I could be that attention to detail person. Why can't I not color code my entire life like the next person? Well, because that's not where my zone of genius is, and that is okay. Because we all need each other. I mean, can you imagine if the whole world were attention to detail anal people? Nothing would get done, friends. So that's why with my coaching and everything that I do, I've identified through the Enneagram, through different personality types, the doers, the feelers, and the thinkers. And just by that, you may already know which category you're in. And I talk about more of that in my book and in my content, my podcast. And obviously, I'm a doer. Patty identifies with that. And my husband is a feeler, attention to detail. And then you have thinkers that are your scientists, artists out there in the world. But yes, personality does play a part, and that's a good thing.
Awesome. Do you want to tell a little bit about the test that you've developed?
Yeah, so I created a quiz, and I have my business cards back there with a little Brazilian chocolate if you want to treat yourself. And you can scan the QR code. I have it on that table as well. You could take it. It's free. 8 questions. You could take it really quickly, and it will tell you which one of the 3 you are. And then I have some strategies to help you accept it and leverage it, too.
Very good. Which takes us to our next question. How do you deal with comparison, right, and feeling behind, because all of these personalities, and because of that, we judge that one is better than the other, or it's better than me. There's always the let me equip myself, which is good and important, right? We have to play the part and learn. But how to avoid that feeling of falling behind all the time?
I think the reason why I'm so passionate about all of this and starting my business right after having triplets, because can you imagine the confusion in my head? I had some plans for my life. And then I had triplets, and it's like, what do I do with this? But I love my kids. What do I do? Seeing, like every day, literally, 3 people born the same day, raised by the same people. And for those of you who have twins or who are a twin, you know this. They couldn't be more different from each other. And what does that say about all of us here? Coming from different families, from different countries, it's apples to oranges when we want to compare, right? So this is an exercise I've been using with myself for the last 6 years in my business, and that I use with clients, and that I invite you to reflect whenever you find yourself in that space of comparison. I'm behind. Compared to what? Compared to who? How can you possibly compare your mile marker to somebody else's who's on a completely different road leading to a completely different destination? You can't. It's impossible. It's insanity, right? And you know, the infamous, your only competition is yourself. It's the truth. You should be looking at where was I a year ago, right? And for all of you, I can guarantee you, a year ago, you probably wouldn't even imagine you would have accomplished the things that you have done in a year. Because when we're looking a year ahead, it's like, oh my gosh, it's so far away. When the years pass, you're like, oh my gosh, that was just yesterday. And it wasn't, right? It's all a matter of perspective. So I think my triplets have really helped keep this into perspective for me, to understand that my only comparison really is with myself. You know, it's cliche, but cliches are cliches because it's true. Am I better than I was yesterday, right? Have I invested more in becoming aware of my strengths so that I can, so this is the key part, I think, in terms of the comparison is when you're able to become aware of your uniqueness and you celebrate it, you're able to celebrate people so much more genuinely. Because when you're looking at other people from a space of comparison, you're usually resentful, I wish I were like them, right? Or you're like, I'm so much better than them. How are they getting all these clients? How are they advancing so fast? When you don't even know the backstory, right? We see the overnight success. One of my business coaches says, I am an overnight success that took 20 years to get here, you know? And that's usually what it is. Nothing happens overnight, right? So ask yourself that question, compared to what, right? And learn to embrace your uniqueness, and then you'll be able to celebrate people's uniqueness. Because, you know, I love the analogy in the Bible. I think that's the most genius analogies. How could the eye look at the ear and say, I don't need you, I'm better than you? We're doing different things. It's impossible.
Awesome. Pretty good.
I have just a question. Sure. As an investor, when I am looking at a pitch, I look different aspects, and I am always going to what I know better. And in a situation of a pitch, how people can be unique or be different or be better than others?
I think what makes you really stand out, there's a few factors, but what really makes you stand out is first staying true to yourself. Because everybody can sniff out imposter syndrome, right? People know that, and I mean, it's primal instincts, intuition. You know when something's fishy, even if you can't put your finger on. But also becoming aware of what people are interested in, right? Who are you up against? I think all of those things play a part into that. Is the more aware you are of yourself, the more you can be yourself, and people can notice that. So it all comes down to that awareness and also being informed. And the other thing that I just remembered is keep showing up, right? I tell my clients, you want to stand out, keep showing up. Because people are going to start falling off. You're still there. Like, people find me on social media. Well, Marta, you're still doing this 3 years later? Yeah, friend, I am. I stand out because I'm not giving up and I'm not going away.
Very good. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Which takes us to our next topic in a strategy, which is intentionality. But in order to do that, we have to continue be reinventing ourselves and setting up boundaries. And for this topic, I'm going to put her beautiful photo there as well. I'd like to direct this question to Fernanda Furman, who is a virtual events producer, online summit architect, and digital launch expert. Fernanda, share with us in which ways immigrants and entrepreneurs have to constantly reinvent themselves.
So, a lot of the immigrants that comes here, we come here for the American dream. Some of us, we come here for the love, you know, and many times we don't come here with a job lineup. We just come here with a dream, and we trust something is going to happen. Some people come here, and they continue their careers. Like, as an architect, I came here, and I continued being an architect. I was working as an architect for many years. The problem is, So, and I worked as an architect for many years. But the first time I came here, that was not the story. When I came here the first time, I worked at McDonald's. I worked doing babysitting. Whatever showed up for me, I did. The only thing that I did not succeed at was house cleaning, which I tried. I did buy a schedule of houses because that's what people do. Like we invented a job. We invented a career, which was building a schedule of houses to clean and selling it, right? So we are very creative. And I bought that schedule, and I was never called twice to do the same house. So when I came here last time, I came here to finish this project. I was very excited, and that's what I wanted. I wanted to pursue the architectural job, and I wanted to be an architect in America. But along the way, I had kids, and things happen. And we all change. Things change around us, and we need to be. Resilience is not just, overcome the obstacles that comes our way, but it's also overcoming the ego that we have. And the ego was playing a big part of my story because as an entrepreneur and immigrant, especially being a Latina, when we tell people that, oh, now I'm doing houses, the first question it was, Fernanda, the architect, she's cleaning houses? So the ego played a huge part on it. And the title was very important to me because that's how you show up as a woman. I made it. I went to America and I made it. So when I went through domestic violence, everybody asked me, why didn't you go back? That was not a choice. It didn't even cross my mind because that did not define me, did not define my story. My story of resilience was to reinvent myself. So what am I going to do now? What's the next step? I never looked back. We always look, forward to what's going to happen. What's the next step? And a lot of times we change careers throughout, the time. It's not just because we came here. And I changed careers at 47 years old during the pandemic with 2 little kids. I was already in fear of the future, and I didn't know what was going to happen. So insecurity, and again, I started comparing myself to my friends' architects that were like working in downtown and making all this money, and I left, a 6-figure career that I had to do something I didn't know what it was, but I know that was not my calling. And I remember going to this fireplace store with my client, and she took 3 hours to pick the color of the lights that she wanted for the fireplace, or the shape of the fireplace. And that's fine, but for me, my heart was not there. And I knew that was not what I wanted to do anymore. And I love designing all the projects that I was doing. They were like multi-million-dollar custom homes, amazing, but my heart was not there. And it's okay to change. We change, like everybody's saying, we go up and down. And one of my lows, and if you're an entrepreneur, we go like the ups and downs. Like today I'm invincible, and then the next day you feel invisible, right? So one of those days I was crying, and my husband came to me and he said, okay, if money was not an objection, what would you be doing? And I looked at the past 2 years of my life, and I said, oh my gosh, I'm already doing it. I'm just not charging because I didn't have a degree on it. I didn't have a certification. But you know what? I reinvented myself, and that's what we do all the time. I created something that it was not a career. I didn't go to school, but that experience that I had and the skills that we bring with us, with the story of each one, like Marta said, we all have different stories. And along our time, we acquire skills, emotional skills, trade skills that we bring with us and make us unique in the job force. So I decided that day, this is what I'm doing. And I remember not having the support and people saying, are you crazy? Are you going to give up on all of those years in that investment? Well, I had already invested over $150,000 in coaching programs to learn the skill. which was more than I spent in my career becoming an architect. So I do have a skill. And nobody's going to define me and say who I need to be. So what I see, as in reinventing yourself is really allowing us to go after the dream, not giving up, and also understand that the path might be not what everybody designed for you or even what you design, but it's okay to change. As long as in your heart you feel that's the right thing, because then you show up strong and you help people. And like one of the panelists were saying, in the morning you show up on Monday like, hey, this is Christmas, right? It's Christmas morning. So for me, the fact that we have the resilience in changing careers or even going through a phase where, okay, this didn't work, right? One of my clients, we planned her event for 6 months. Everything was ready to go. All the funnels, all the email marketing, everything was ready to go. And she said, can't continue because I changed my brand and my message. So at that point, I could be like, oh my gosh, we can't do this. We need to continue. Or we have to adapt and say, that's okay. I'm excited for you. What is the new brand? What are you feeling? Why are you changing that? And embracing it and moving forward. And I guess the secret is moving forward. You're falling forward, and you keep going. And I still have my ups and downs. Sometimes, more downs when I'm trying to create something, and sometimes very highs when I see the results that impacts people. So I guess that's...
Is it back now? Yes. We were talking a little bit about trusting the process. Can you walk us through, right? Many times, most times, things don't happen exactly like we planned, right? So how do we trust the process? That's a right mindset. That's also a strategy that we're being intentional. We're doing our part, and we're planting the seeds, and it's gonna be okay.
Yeah, so intentionality, it's my word for this year. So every year I pick a word as an intention. And I feel like when we are immigrants, we come here, we have that intention, we have that goal. I'm gonna live there for 2 years, I'm gonna build this, or I'm gonna be an architect in America, I'm gonna be a virtual, architect. And then what happens is, if you're not intention, when things fall out of place, you feel like it's not working and you don't trust the process. But if you trust the process, you know that it's going to happen, this is part of it, and there's something I need to learn as I'm going through this, right? And it's like for me, I left the title and my ego behind. Instead of being Fernanda the architect, now I'm being called Fernanda the virtual event architect. So I'm still an architect, just a different one, right?
Very good. You want to say something else? You're good? Awesome. That's really important. Yeah, I think it's very challenging that it's challenging, but it's also reality, right? We have titles. And then the career becomes our identity, right? It was interesting, right? Because when we were creating the PowerPoint and all the materials, we were putting our, accolades. This person here has like 37 pages of, accomplishments. And I was like, journalist. But I'm like, well, I graduated in journalism, but I'm not a journalist. And and then the girl's like, yes, you are, because it's not my career, right? Then we create this identity and title. So, yeah, this is really great. Thanks, everyone, for being here. We're enjoying this conversation. I hope you are, too. Which takes us to our next question and our next panelist, which is exactly that, right? Accessibility, resources, education. And many immigrants choose to start their own businesses, many times because of the language barrier. Many times again, we're not going to talk about immigration issues, but because, work status and all of that. And they have to reinvent themselves to, start working. And it starts with questions like, should I start a business? But what's my skill? What should I do? What can I really offer? And I would like to ask Ariane Barboza She is a licensed attorney in Brazil. Here in the United States, she's a paralegal, a content creator. You guys should totally follow her on Instagram. And a career mentor at Estudando na Gringa, which means studying abroad. Ariane, so tell us a little bit, how can seeking information and resources help one decide if entrepreneurship is really for them?
Well, I like to start with knowledge is power. Entrepreneurship, it's a symbol of America. This is the land of opportunity. A lot of immigrants, they come here seeking for opportunities, for open doors that sometimes they don't have in their home country. And doesn't matter your background, your culture, your religion, your family, doesn't matter. So people come here to look for new opportunities. If it wasn't true, none of us would be here for stay, right? So this is why I like here. There is so many open doors, but the immigrant way is not easy at all. So it's a long path that you have to go through. And sometimes it's difficult, like everybody else already said. We have up and downs, and it's very difficult. But sometimes that is very helpful for me, and I think it's the main point is knowledge. If you seek for information and the right resources, you can go everywhere. So I'm a visual learner, guys, so I bring up some slides for you guys because I assume that everyone else is. So just to let you know, if you can change for the next one. Okay. I'm gonna share this question with you guys. What does Santa Claus and dishwasher have to do with entrepreneurship? So when I came here in 2017, I came all by myself. My kids were there in Brazil, my husband too. I went here to study English, and I was in an American host family, living with them for 3 months. And I remember the first time that we had dinner together, I was ready to clean up my plate after dinner. And then the dad, a big guy with a big heart, he used to look like a Santa Claus because he used to work as a Santa Claus every Christmas time. He just turned to me and said, no, you don't have to worry about it. Just clean up your plate and put in the dishwasher. And I gonna turn it on. I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And then next day, I went to their daughter's house, and then after lunch, I saw the dishwasher again. And I was like, oh, that's good. The neighbors the same, and again, and again, and again. And I hate the dishwasher. And in my mind, the only thing that I could tell was like, if this is what they mean with American dream, I'm in. So, and it's a simple machine, but it can change a woman's life. It can change our entrepreneur lives. It changed my life. Now I save 1,320 minutes per month not washing the dish. Yes, I counted. Yeah. Yeah, I did tell it. Okay, next slide. So, and the numbers doesn't lie. So a lot of immigrants, they come here, and because they are full of skills, they trying to transport all the things. I love the speech that you had before us, talking about reinvent yourself and transport your skills here. And we are able to help our community and to grow and to start our own business and to do everything else that you are willing to do, basically.
We should read this, shouldn't we? I think those are... Good now? Yes. This was not planned, but I think we should read these numbers because it's very impactful, and our hope is that you leave here, right, with the sense, and most of you here are immigrants, so you already know this, but we're here to be a blessing to the community and not to be a burden. And we play a huge role in the economic landscape, right, in this country. So 3.2 million immigrants entrepreneurs in 2019. 8 million people were employed at immigrant-owned businesses in 2017, 1.3 trillion in total sales of immigrant-owned businesses in 2017, and 50% growth of immigrant businesses between 1996 and 2011. So, yes. This is in America, in the United States. Yes. That leads to my next question regarding the strategies, right? What strategies can immigrants and entrepreneurs leverage regarding resourcefulness?
Yeah, well, I like to start with 3 foundations. I think I separate in 3 pillars that I feel like is very important for everybody that wants to pursue their career, wants to become an entrepreneur, start their own business, that you have to go through in order to get, better. The first pillar is education. So most of us immigrants, I think the first step is the most challenge because you have to learn English, right? So it's very difficult because sometimes, like Fernanda already said, we are full of skills, but you don't know how to express ourselves. We have the syndrome imposters, the imposter syndrome about, am I good enough? Am I doing the right thing? I remember when I was attending Salt Lake Community College, I was elected to be the Senate leader. And then I was invited to be part of the tuition fee board, which means that we had to have a lot of meetings with the college president, the state representatives, because it was a public school, and also talk a lot with VPs, and I was like, am I good enough? Why am I here? And a good friend of mine, he just turned to me and said, you got this. Don't even worry about it. So it's hard, and sometimes it takes time. We think we're gonna learn English, we think you're gonna go to grocery store and understand everything. But basically, you have to do English school, so there is so many resources out there. You can go in universities, in English as a second language programs, you can find in English schools, you can find in your community, in church or public schools for free, but you have to start on it. And also, I think it's important to remember about certification. Certification, it doesn't take a long time of study. Sometimes it takes like 200 hours to 3 months to be certified, and it's practical, and it's, according to the data as well, people that are certified, they earn 3 times more money than people that are uncertified. So it's a good way to go, especially if you are practicing some areas like beauty, plumbing, technician, construction, mechanics, so it's really good. But if you're looking for something more long, like a doctor, to become a doctor or attorney here, you have to go to the long path. You're studying for a bachelor's, master's degree, or PhD. And my highly advice on that is find scholarships, because I know education here is very expensive, I'm not gonna lie. But if you find the scholarships, you'll be able to go through that really easy. And I have experience on that, because I remember when I was looking for and applying for, I found one specifically for international students. So be specific in your research. And after I applied it, I won. And then because I was studying legal studies, I was able to get another scholarships in American Bar Association, which is related to law. And after all, I was able to get $40,000 in scholarships. And that was so helpful. And just because I took the time to apply for it, to search for it, even people saying, well, I don't think we have something for you. But yeah, take the time. It's really worth it. The second pillar that I think is very important, sometimes people don't realize, is the legal step. So it's not just come here to America and start work, right? You have to go through, and the same as when you get married with an American citizen. Now, people think it's just to go and do the party and do the registration thing, and I'm ready and having like a happily ever after, but it's actually not like that. So you have to find an immigration attorney to get your work visa done, your residency done, your citizenship. And sometimes it takes a year, sometimes it takes 5 years, sometimes it takes 10 years. So it's a long journey, but I feel like when you have a guide, you can do. Yeah, if you have the right professional to help you out with that, it's really helpful. Also, for entrepreneurs, I think it's interesting to remind that an accountant is really important, because I know we can do a lot by ourselves, but when you have somebody that already did, it just saves us a lot of time. So find for accounting to open your help you register your business, to help you set up your taxes, your federal taxes and everything. Is really important too. And the third pillar is the financial. I think Patricia was mentioning sometimes I experience about that, about the Small Business Administration. It's an organization that can help everybody that is an entrepreneur and look for training, for certification, for loans, for grants. So money is not an excuse, to be honest. So you can find the resources to put you out there and help you achieve your goal. So to finish, I think it's important you're looking for resources, because we have the tools out there. So we have to use it, right? So they're there for us. That's it.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Our next strategy is about authenticity. And in preparation for this panel, we talked a lot about the importance of demystifying stereotypes and stigmas and leveraging what is perceived as something negative as positive, and embracing and leveraging diversity as an opportunity. And for this question, I would like to invite Doutora Rafaela Garreta to address this topic. She's a philanthropist, licensed attorney in the United States and Brazil. She's the president of the Brazilian Chamber of Commerce of Massachusetts, a Super Lawyer Rising Star Award-winning by Thomson Reuters, I got it wrong twice already, Reuters, founder and owner of Garreta Law Office and Magazine. Thank you so much for being here. How can the entrepreneur and the immigrant, oh, I need to put your beautiful photo there. Looking so sharp. How can the entrepreneur and the immigrant leverage their uniqueness, their unique identity, like Martin mentioned, to break the stigmas and stereotype that can be perceived as disadvantages?
First, I believe being different is a huge opportunity. I love being myself. I love being who I am, and I'm proud of it. And people can feel it. People can sense it. And I believe, especially in an immigrant community and for entrepreneurs, we need to be inspired, right? And there is a lack, oops, my teeth. There is a lack of representation. So I remember also when I got here, I'm a licensed attorney in Brazil. This girl from Ipanema, very spoiled, very everything, and good clients. And I arrived here and I had a vision to become an attorney in the United States. But people didn't believe in that because of my accent, because of my hair, because of my color, because of my weight, because the way that I dress. Actually, this picture is my winter picture because I'm from Massachusetts and it's hard to keep my curls. I thought about how can I achieve my goal of becoming an attorney in the U.S. as well. So I engaged with my community. And I became the president of the Brazilian Workers Center, which is the largest no-profit organization in the United States serving immigrant workers. And I passed 2 laws, you know. Yeah, during my presidency, we were able to pass the Domestic Workers Bill of Rights, the 4th in the United States, the most, oh my God, sorry.
Clients.
The most,
Clients.
the most comprehensive in the United States. And also, not long ago, we passed the driver's license, like driving families forward, which I was the only immigration attorney who testified before the Transportation Committee in the Massachusetts Congress, right? And with that, I got a lot engaged with my community. And I worked with, like, I cleaned houses. I cleaned gyms. I used to work at a law firm during the day, and at night, I would clean gyms because I needed money to pay for my studies. And I opened a construction company. Actually, I love driving trucks. I plow snow during the winter because it's fun. I love the noise, like, bah, and it is so powerful, right? And nowadays, people don't believe I do that, but I go live, and I am here. My clients, like a lot of them work with construction, and they are so proud that their attorney can plow. And with that, I gained credibility. I reinvented myself. I got engaged with the community. And I saw a lack of representation, right? Because I wasn't expected to be in court. Several times I were not allowed to go into the court because the security did not believe that an attorney that has an accent is an attorney. Or because my hair is the way that it is, or because I want to be colorful, because, you know, it's winter in Massachusetts and I want to have some color and be bright, and they asked for a second form of ID, or I had to go through metal detector. That happened like several times. And I got like so strength. And I'm so proud of myself of everything that I have done. I'm proud of my family. We believe in education. And I decided after the COVID that I needed to be more and more myself. And I launched myself as me, finally, you know. And that brought me so many clients because now the clients can relate to me. Now the clients trust me more. And I go to my office, I don't wear jeans, and we have uniforms in my office. You know, I am as important as my paralegal, as my law clerks, as the receptionist, right? And that changed completely my practice. And I also reinvented myself and became the only Brazilian attorney in Massachusetts who has authority to issue titles. Like, there was no other attorney doing real estate in Massachusetts, and it is the largest population, like Brazilian population in the United States. So just because I decided to be different, I was bold, you know that, but because like bolder, I don't know, bolder, that brought me so many clients, and that created a stronger bond with my community. So I think it's a lot of leverage to just use our differences. And people pursue these stereotypes like, oh, she has an accent, she doesn't know what she's doing, you know, she's not a good professional. Like, seriously, I'm an attorney. I can't argue in 2 or 3 languages. Excuse me, right? So be proud of yourself, be bold, and just go. And there are people out there that must be inspired by you, and we represent so many things. So that's a huge, huge, huge thing to be authentic.
Very good, very good. Now you made me remember when I was, is it on? Yep. When I was in college, and I remember in public speaking, one of my, student as well, and he would be like, you're so calm doing your public speaking classes. And I'm like, oh, you're afraid. And you know, you have an accent, you don't even care. And I'm like, that's all I got. That's all I got. I have to pass this class, so let's do it. Very good. So our next two questions, final questions, and then we'll open for Q&A. It's for 25 minutes to closing. It's about the reason we're all here today, which is networking and the power of truly building community, right? And having the openness and willingness of connecting, right? Because networking is much different than just getting business cards, right? Or going to an event, or we're at Denver Startup Week. It's the largest networking opportunity in Denver for the year. You will meet a lot of people, but that does not mean that you're gonna be networking. You're gonna connect, you're gonna meet them, but what will really take place, and it's after, right? It's building the connection. So, you know, just a word of advice, if I may, is just be intentional about connecting with the people that you really find synergy, or different people than you, and really having an interest in learning what that person has to share, not what they have, but what they have to share. And enjoy this whole week. I mean, they're full of events, you know, all day until Friday. So this is a great opportunity. And I want to thank the panelists here today, because Fernanda and Rafaela, and Ariane, they're from other states, and we met online. And we've built this community online. And Martha and I, I've seen Martha before, like, her Instagram, and then one day we were at the salon, which I never go to the salon, and it was a Brazilian, right? And then she's getting her done, and I'm cutting my hair, and we're like, hi, we should network and connect. And then we went for coffee, and then we became friends. And then Lidi and I went to SBDC's Leading Edge program. Well, she did the Leading Edge program. I need the previous version of that, and a coach at the SBDC said, you're Brazilian, you guys should meet each other, and that's how we've been connected. So I would like to ask each one of you here, what does network mean to you? But mostly than network, how have you been building your community, right? Because we're so far from home. Many of us don't have our family here. We don't know anybody. I moved here, I knew nobody. Like, my family lived in New York. I did not want to go there because my goal was really, I came to stay 1 year and learn English. That was my goal. It's been 18 years that I'm here. It has changed. I had to reinvent myself, but that was my goal. And my goal initially was, I want to go and not meet any Brazilians, because I really want to be immersed fully in the culture and learn the language. And that's how I landed in Colorado. Like, I didn't even know in the map where Colorado was. And, you know, after a while, you start to, feel lonely. And, like, people don't understand me. And I remember going to church, and people would after they would, first they're talking, and then I'm like behind trying to find the information. And second, they would all go out after and have social, time, and I would be like translating and like, no, I want to say something. Oh no, that already passed. They're already in another topic. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I remember when 6 months after, I had my first full dream in English. And I woke up and I was like, I speak English. I'm fluent now. So this connection, right? We all look for connection and bonding and belonging. And even Denver Startup Week, I remember 2016, my background is not in technology. Denver Startup Week is more open to different businesses, but you know, when it started, it was mostly technology, and I love technology. I'm not a software engineer, but I work with that. Came to reinvent myself working with that. And in the beginning, I also felt out of place, but at the same time, it was a very inviting community, right? Denver Startup Week. It's like, come learn. You know, we need diverse people. I remember I was I will go to the questions, right? I will move on to ask all of them. I remember I went to, soon after my divorce, right, I had two options. I could either be depressed or get busy, and I chose to get busy. And networking was my way of not get sick, mentally sad and all of those. And it was the first time I co-parent and I didn't have my children with me. And I was like by myself on the couch, had just moved to this new apartment. And I'm like, this is not the American dream. This is not, this is not what my life is supposed to be. And I didn't even, knew what my kids had done that day. Anyways, and then I just remember going to a networking event that literally changed my life because it was the kickoff for the Go Code Colorado, which is using public data to create software. And it was like a competition for, anyone could participate. And the person that presented was Latina representation, right? And she talked about her experience in New York as a Latina and then being in tech and, all the ups and downs of that. And women in tech is already, at the time wasn't, right? Ladies in tech, it wasn't as many women in tech and then Latina in tech. So it's like, you don't have any clue what you're talking about, right? Initially when people were meeting you. And then I remember going to this networking event for the kickoff, inviting everyone, and I talked to her afterwards. I'm like, I have some ideas, but it's not my background, but she's like, you should come, you definitely should come, because we need different perspectives. Because the coder, he codes, but he doesn't have the ideas that you're having, right? So I participated, and Flavia is here today, and I participated in the Go Code Colorado. I remember presenting right here at the Denver Performing, Theater, and it was a huge opportunity and turning point for me. It was like, I found my tribe. I found the path that I want to, be in, and it was through that. I want to acknowledge Flavia Hayes that's here. It was the Go Code winner in 2019, and it was all because of networking. So, Lidie, let's start with you, and then we'll go around. For you, what's the importance of building your network?
Okay, well, before I talk about that, I want you guys to share with you. I want to acknowledge Patty because she brought us together. Is what I call the networking is extraordinaire, and she has been building community for us, and she reached out to each one of us and brought us together. So thank you so much, Patty. And you are asking me to talk about networking when everybody should come and have a coffee with you after this event because you have so much to give, And I think, Patty is a great example because it's about being authentic. It's about showing up. It's about, on the other hand, look at my smile. Now look at Patty's smile. Her smile is just there's just so much empathy. There's so much invitation there. There's so much energy that, So I need to try a bit harder than she does. So, it's about showing up. It's about being authentic. It's about connecting people, meeting people where they're at. Sometimes we have a lot of experience with something, and somebody is earlier on in their journey as an entrepreneur. You don't need to spill all your 50, 100 accolades like Dr. Hafa has, and that's what is amazing about Hafa because that's not what she does. You just try to meet them where they're at and try to figure out what did they need in that moment. Sometimes they just need a word of support. Sometimes they just need a word of, follow your dream. Well, think about it again. Revisit that idea of having that business again, Margot. So that's my spill.
So for me, it's about listening, right?
when we talk to people, a lot of people have a tendency to talk about themselves all the time. They don't listen. And I feel like we miss an opportunity. And this is me. I'm a talker. I am the first one to get to a party and the last one to leave because I love, new meat to talk to. Yes. My poor husband had to learn how to live with that. But I feel like my business, for example, I never promote. People ask me, where can I find you online? I just recently got a website. All of my clients came from referral. And that it's because, and when you talk about yourself too much, right? When somebody talks about you, the trust is there. So when I'm talking to people, I want to know about them, genuinely, where are you from? What do you do? Because I'm a connector. And I love introducing people to people. And we always remember, oh, you need this. I know that person that can do that for you because you listen. And if you don't, then if it is just about yourself, then you miss that opportunity.
Well, I would say very short, find your tribe. I think is the main goal. If you have a goal that is very difficult, that is very unique, very hard to pursue, find your tribe because they can help you out with whatever you want, whatever you need, actually. So find your tribe.
Well, I need to acknowledge one of my clients that's here, Ella. She came all the way from California to attend a conference that I'm speaking at. And she's a perfect example of the beauty of networking, and in this day and age, no excuses, right? You could literally meet people online. You don't have to leave your house, so I encourage that. I think the most important thing, and this is for business too, not just networking, is not being attached to the outcome. Because if you're starting a conversation with somebody already thinking, is there going to be my client? Are they going to sign up after this? Or what's going to happen? You're already steering the conversation a certain way, and it's not genuine. And like I said before, people can sniff that out. So where will this lead? I don't know, but everything is seeds, right? So looking at connection as a potential referral if they don't become a client, or maybe a client a year down the road, right? How many people have you connected with, and then years later they find you, they hunt you down on LinkedIn or something. They're like, I was there when you were speaking, or I connect. Do you remember me? It's leaving your mark, right? And to keep showing up as well. And I think finding a tribe, finding people that will hold you accountable, because some days you don't want to talk to anybody. Some days you don't care about what other people are doing. But to be held accountable, and that's why I love joining networking communities, like what Patty has for Brazilians and other communities, local, international, so that even when you don't feel like it, all right, I'll hop on the Zoom meeting, you don't know who you're going to meet and who you're going to support or how you can be supported that day. So I would say keep showing up and don't attach yourself to the outcome.
No, I need to add that because Patty, we met because I was asking for money. I love raising money for my organizations, right? And we were having this annual dinner for the Brazilian Chamber of Commerce, which I'm the president of. And I had this idea to put together a magazine because it was the 15 years anniversary. And I put that on one of our groups, and she was there, and she started asking me questions the return, and this and that, this is just to support the organization. Yeah, this is just we are no profit. We need your support, and it ended up that she had to go to Massachusetts, and something happened where she would be, and she ended up coming to my house one night, and after 4 days, she was there, and now every time she goes to Massachusetts, she stays with me. And it was the first time that I met 3 of the panelists, but we've been talking. I spoke with in person. Ariane too, we met online, and I was so impressed by her work that I told her, girl, we need to be friends and come to my house. And she came to my house to Massachusetts, and we spent like 3 days together. It was amazing, and I am so proud of her. She is amazing. But like networking, I believe it's a connection, right? I believe it's learning too, and the listening part is very important because that is when you are figuring out problems that you might solve and that you might make business. Like sometimes like working and the results is not just about the business that the person you are meeting is going to bring to you, but like just learning what is out there in a community is a great opportunity. I also believe it's just like it's speeding up time. You know, every time I go to a network, I spot like people that can really support me. I believe in a team. I have a big team, and that's why I'm here today. Otherwise, I couldn't make it, right? And when I meet people, I'm able to bring the skills to my team, and I always have open eyes to bring them to my team. Also, 95% of my business is referrals. I started with the credibility that I bring from all the leadership roles that I've been pursuing, if I can say, I don't know, in my community, but also I engage with people. And some of my friends may say, oh my God, you are going to this event, not like small events to talk about first-time home buyers, right? Wow. That's good because I'm connecting with my clients, with people. So networking is about listening, connection, also speeding up the time, be aware of people that can help you becoming a better person or achieving more and more. Yeah, I love networking. And I want to network with all of you. I don't know if you saw there are pins that I put, like I love little gifts. And I also have gifts. Someone here got already because she was helping me, like that working. Little notebooks. People that ask questions, we are going to give it to.
Yes. Yes.
Wow, I'm so, you can see how it is. I am so, the power of networking,
The power
Patty.
of no.
I am so in love with Denver. I feel like this is like my city, you know. It's just hard because I'm a Brazilian Bostonian. I really love like Boston Strong. I love the Four Seasons, but I felt so welcomed here, like the atmosphere. And I see so much opportunity for me. I believe I will have a branch here, and I see my firm can help so much the startups with visas, like the processes, the national interest waivers. There are so many things that we can support the immigrant community, the business community, of immigrants to be legally here, documented. So yes, I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about that.
Brainstorming sessions to come. We will open up for questions. We'll just do a really fire question for each one because the following topic is burnout, right? And the strategy is really self-care. As an immigrant, and as an immigrant, you're doing different things. If you're a parent, then you're doing 1,000 things, and you're overwhelmed. If you're immigrant, you're overwhelmed because now you have to have a new set of understanding, of knowledge, of everything. When you get here, what bank, where to live, it's a lot. So if we are not careful, I'm preaching to myself, we get burned out, right? We don't take care of ourselves. Again, another reason why we need a tribe and a community. People need to sometimes, Anna is not here today, who is my co-founder. She's like, you need to sleep. Go to sleep, right? We need that support. We need to take care of ourselves. Otherwise, we can't do any of the work. So in one word or two, it's really hard to ask a Brazilian to say one word, sorry. What's your self-care practice, or what do you recommend for everyone?
can I start?
Yeah, we'll go this way back.
For me, is have a sense of time. Everyone has 24 hours a day. What I'm going to do with that, right? Building a team definitely is my self-care. That enables me to be here, to sleep, to do more, to conquer the world, and accomplish every vision that I have. So team, knowledge about time, yeah, that's me.
I will go back to the personalities and individuality. I always, when I talk about the personality types, I always say not all advice is good advice, because it depends on who you are, right? So for doers, the best advice is please go to sleep. Please take a break. But if I tell a feeler or a thinker, please take a break, they're not going to do anything because they're already on an eternal break. They live on the breaks, making the lists, you know? So that's bad advice. Don't give feelers and thinkers that advice. So for feelers, it's take action. You won't know until you do it. Clarity comes with action, right? You got it. Preaching here. And for thinkers is put yourself out there at the risk of being rejected. Yes, put yourself out there. So that's the self-care, is being aware of who you are, but then pushing yourself against the autopilot that we all have, and it's a little different for everybody.
For me, self-care would be do what you like, you know, spend time to yourself, do me time. This is so important. And it can be anything depending on their style. So in my case, I love to go out there. I like to do outdoor activities, to be in nature. I think I just arrived in the right place because Utah is very pretty. We have a lot of national parks there. So when I go to the nature, when I do camping, when I stay with my kids, that is kind of the time that I recharge my battery and get ready for work, basically.
So I'm learning what the word self-care means.
She's
For real.
in the
I'm a
doer
doer
team there.
I'm a big doer. But one thing that I do that I need for me, it's the self-care for financial self-care. So every Friday, I do have a spreadsheet. I'm a crazy, my life lives on a spreadsheet. And I have a spreadsheet that I put one number there, which is how much I made this money or this month, or how much I'm getting paid, and I put in there and calculates my whole life, how much I have, and I need to be in control and know where I am financially because my plans depend on my financial life. So the only self-care that I really practice is the financial self-care every Friday. But I'm learning how to do my non-negotiables now.
She's having a retreat since Friday here.
Well, and then she stayed up all night.
Yeah, and then it's like...
Anyway, so yeah, for me, it's self-care is crucial. Like I've been here for 19 years. I've had a lot of ups and downs. I've had struggles with my mental health. And what I do these days is just like sleep, eat, exercise. Like those three need to be part of my weekly routine, you know, and meditation every day, and coloring books on the weekends. And we have a WhatsApp channel where we share our coloring book art with my niece, my 5-year-old niece in Brazil. And just on the weekends, going out on hikes with my husband and watching the sunrise from my house.
Which is amazing, amazing, amazing.
Especially when you're working 24 hours and you didn't go to sleep, and you look around and go like, the sun is rising. That was Pachi and I these two best days.
Very good. Well, let's open up for questions. I know we're short on time. We'll wrap up here so the next session can get set up here if they are using the technology. Well, Flavia, we'll start with you. You had a question?
We have someone here.
I go for the book, right?
Oh, Flavia already has the book.
Sorry. Hi. I wanted to ask, because a lot of you talked about starting over and reinventing yourselves, and I know like the education part and all of that, but how do you gain credibility at the beginning? I think not only external, but also internal, right? Like first, of course, with your clients and everything, how do you gain it? But also, how do you, when are you convinced that you can do it, and how? Because I think, especially if you're going outside of the career that you have and the title that you have, it's probably really hard, right? So I'm wondering.
I would ask Martha to answer this question because she teaches about credibility, building your credibility online.
Well, and I went in a completely different path with my career. I still do freelance, by the way, fun fact, legal interpreting, all of the courts. I'm the only certified court interpreter in Portuguese here in Colorado. So I do that. And then when I started the coaching, my family was like, what are you doing? You don't have degrees in coaching. What are you talking? You've never had a business before. How are you mentoring people? To add to my own imposter syndrome. But I mean, it's the resilience, right? It's you keep showing up. It's you keep doing, and nobody wants to hear that because they were not saying you wouldn't want to hear that, but we're like, what's the magic formula for people to really believe? Well, first is you need to believe in yourself. And how do you do that? You keep doing it. Because it comes with action, right? And there will be days, the ups and downs, the infamous graphic of entrepreneurs, that you're going to be like, I know nothing. The next person is better. They're getting all the clients. So the mindset piece is huge, right? Because how many of us working with clients, you tell them, go do this, I'm giving you all the steps, and they can't make themselves do it. Why? I told you what to do. They don't believe themselves enough, right? And it's a journey. And I would add to that is, don't put a timeline for yourself, right? The timeline is an imaginary. I need to be at a certain point in a year, and then you're not. What do? You beat yourself up. So just trust the process, right? I feel like if you have that intention, it won't matter what happens. You're going to keep going. So that's my view on it.
Hi, I have a question for Martha. We will keep you busy. I have done all those type of personality testing, and for me, it has been always very difficult, to fit in one thing. I feel that I'm a doer, a feeler, a thinker. In your test, do you have something kind of merge them, or? I attend a class recently about to being a multi-potentialite, some people that has different personalities. And I always feel that way,
So I would say we're not one thing, and that's the trouble with personality assessments. And even if you were to go into the Enneagram, you actually have to sit with somebody to talk to them and have them type you. It's not just taking a test. And that's the problem, because we don't have the patience. Human beings are so curious, and they want people to tell them who they are, but as soon as they do, I'm not like that, right? So it's like, well, I thought you wanted to know how I perceive you. So it's a journey, but it's understanding that, yes, they overlap. It's about which one is more predominant, right? Like when you wake up in the morning, and this is what I usually do when I'm teaching the Enneagram, what is your main goal? Last day on earth. Do you want to be recognized? Do you want to be that successful person, or do you want to be in the behind the scenes helping somebody out, right? I like to use the analogy of football teams. I was going to say Patriots. Go Broncos! Because she was like Bostonian, blah, blah, blah. I was like, whatever. I just had to throw that out there. I know. Well, no, because she's from Boston. When you think like a football team, the quarterback is the star. But not everybody can be the quarterback. But the quarterback does not exist without the coach and without the doctor, without the physician, right? But we don't really know who the physician is. We don't really know their names unless something's happening. We know a little bit more of the coach, but they're not the superstar. So there's a role for everybody. So that's my advice for you, is thinking, where do I fall in? What is my motivation when I wake up in the morning? Do I want to be the superstar, knowing very well that the level of rejection is even higher? I mean, go look at tweets against Tom Brady, right? Or any quarterback. Are you ready and willing to deal with that? Because if not, then that's not your place. You're more of the coach, or you're more of the physician. So I would say, take that as a journey too. You don't need to know the label today, because nobody is a label. and understanding that it's a mosaic of all those things. But in my test, I do talk about the other types, and that's why I created 3, because the Enneagram is 9 types. I'm not going to get into it, but it's a lot more inviting to say, well, I resonate with this one, but let me look at the other 2, as opposed to let me look at the other 8 and see which one I resonate with. So I hope that helps.
We have a final question here. And we'll let Roberta ask her question, and then we would love to hear your resilience stories. And we even created a name for us and a brand and an email, which is Braziliant, as in Brazilian resilient. And I know because we need to wrap up and the other session is coming. Thank you so much. Roberta, I'm sorry, your question.
First of all, I just want to say that I am extremely inspired by all of you here today. So thank you so much for your time. And my question is, I've been in the corporate career for 20 years now as an engineer, and I love my job, but I always thought that there's something else that I should be doing. There's like something that is gonna make me feel like this is what you came to this world for, or what you're meant to do. But after 20 years working with the same company, a very, secure job, I'm afraid of taking the risk. So do you ladies have any tips for me of how to overcome this fear of going for it, taking the risk and switching?
You are originally from Brazil, right? Yes. So you came here. You came from a different country, different language. Everything is different. I know sometimes changing careers, especially when you've been doing for 20 years, is kind of scary. But like for myself, I'm still very recognized for immigration. When you talk about Rafaela Garreta, you talk about immigration, right? And all of a sudden, I decided to reinvent myself and become a real estate attorney. And it's just really hard. And like, you are crazy. Like, you are starting all over again. And guess what? In 1 year, I've been closing more houses than attorneys that have been in business for 20 years. So just put yourself out there. If you don't feel comfortable starting all the way in, talk to your boss. Like, I need more free time. And you start doing, and as you go, you feel more comfortable. You feel more inspired. Also, surround yourself with people who inspire you and is going to support you, even though they cannot see your vision. Vision is unique. So go for it, girl.
Thank you so much.
She's going to be hanging out at Denver Startup Week. She's going to get bit by the entrepreneurial bug. Yeah. Is the other person's session here? I feel like we can keep going, but I want to be respectful.
One of the things that I would say is really search your heart. What is your vision for your life? What is the lifestyle? Because this is what really, even right now, I build this business that I wanted to have. It was all in my mind. I want to have this business. And I designed the whole model. And then I looked at it and I said, this does not support who I want to be. It does not support my family. It does not support something that I never thought that I would say, which is being a stay-at-home mom. I want to be there for my kids. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to go into a business that I could take anywhere, that I could be with my kids. I homeschool. So when you're thinking about moving, leaving, taking that risk, not knowing the financial side, if this is something that scares you a lot, just look around what you're doing right now. What are the things that makes you happy? What are the lifestyle you want to have? And then don't search for the idea. Let it happen, because it happens in the process. And when you look for it, it runs from you. But when you allow yourself to say, hey, I put it out there and say, this is what I'm not happy where I am. I want to change and reinvent myself in somewhere else. What is there? what would make me happy? What would support my family, my dreams in the future, in 5 years from now? And it might change. Like, you know, it changed to me like 2 weeks ago. I had everything designed, and I was like, this is not it. You know, so just really search your heart and, you know, search for something that's going to fulfill your life and your dreams. Not about the money. So.
Thank you. Once again, do any of you want one final statement?
Well, I was about to add something too, but as a final, I can add. Sometimes I think we label ourselves, right? It's hard. I think I have been through it as being an attorney. Why are you, it's a, you know, a good career. Why you have to change it? Why are you thinking on that? Because you already get there. The path that you went through was long, so why change right now? But I like to think that we have just one life. And as a human being, you know, this is the magic about it, because you're able to relearn new things, even though we gonna fail sometimes, that is gonna be hard. For example, I love to help people, and I noticed that being an attorney, I would be able to maybe attend 100 people, but being a content creator, I would be able to maybe active like 1,000 and people all over the globe because of the, you know, social media. And this is what brings me joy, because it's a time that I can spend with my family. I'm very family oriented, and this is what I decided. I was like, no, I'm gonna do one thing that makes me happy. So this is important.
I think also we need to be okay with failure. I know we didn't talk about, we focus more on the positive of everything, and most times we don't see failure as a positive because it's very hard to fail, right? You associate it, attach it a lot with your worth, even more when it's financial. I wasn't going to share that because, right, again, it's personal, but I remember being here at Denver Startup Week recently after my divorce. I was on government support, right? Which I'm very thankful that the government could help me, right? But at the same time, you don't want a handout, you want a hand up, right? You want these kinds of opportunities, and you want to be able to support yourself. So, however, failure can be used to create resilience, and then you will not know what you're really capable of until you fail and you come back, right? Because failure is not the stop. Like, if you stop, then you fail. But if something doesn't work, you do it again, and you do it again, and you do it again until it works, right? Oh, we could talk forever. So we'll wrap up. Thank you so much, everyone. Please, be in touch with us, Brazilians@gmail.com.